In this video, I will be talking about the weirdest movie, the most random movie, the most goofy movie, the most cringe movie, but weirdly, the coolest movie. So the movie opens with some text. There are 666 portals that connect this world to the other side. These are concealed from all human beings, but there are some who notice their existence, and some are willing to open the door and try to gain the power of darkness. Somewhere in Japan exists the 444th portal known as the Forest of Resurrection. It was a long time ago when the evil soul uncovered its existence. So the movie opens with a samurai dude looking kinda epic and fighting some weeps, but then he finds some main villain and dies instantly, but oh no, that wasn't the main character, and title crawl. After that, like two prisoners looking dudes are waiting for some mob, which are the most goofiest characters I have ever seen. And the main character is like, oh my god, I don't like it when they treat women or some shit. So it's like, oh, and then he shoots one of the villains. But oh no, the villain turns out to be a zombie or some shit. And it's like, oh my god, like a big plot twist in the story is like, wow, when you kill people, they turn into zombies. And one of the villains, who is actually then the main villain, or we think, yeah, it gets confusing real fast, wants to test this theory, so he just shoots the main character's prisoner friend. And guess what? He turns into a zombie as well. So when they prove this theory, the main character is like, oh shit, dog, this is my time. So he kind of just runs off. And the villains want to find this dude, so they are like, yo, I gotta split up. But before that, some boring ass drama scene happens.
There's nobody here.
Yes, there is.
Okay.
Listen, the story of this movie is not important, alright? You shouldn't worry about it, like, it doesn't matter at all. It's just for the fight scenes to take place. But anyway, the villains split up. One of the villains finds the main dude. And they have some epic fight battle between them. Just some, like, I don't know why the fight scenes are so perfectly choreographed in this movie. And that's actually one of the things, like, unironically, that I really like about this film. But yeah, the other three villains are just kind of sitting there, and they see all the bodies that they, or well, they don't see all the bodies, and they're like, oh my god, all these bodies that we have buried, where did they go? And massive plot twist, they're zombies, obviously. So we get another epic battle between the villains and just some fucking zombies for some reason. And in the meanwhile, the main character and the villain he was fighting show up at the fight scenes because they hear gunshots, and they just kind of all kick zombie ass, and it's fucking epic, man. Like, goddamn. And then the main character and the main girl kind of just run off again because they can't kill the main character. Ooh, spooky, because they have an other higher boss. Yeah, I don't know. So yeah, epic fight scene shows up, but the villains betray the villain who tries to do the good job because they have their own plans. I probably should stop saying villain because it's gonna be hella confusing knowing which guy I mean, but hopefully you can follow. But anyway, in the meanwhile, we meet up with some random ass, I call them the Good Squad, I guess, who are just two side characters that become at the end a bit important. But yeah, those are the guys who should have taken care of the prisoner. But anyway, after that, the real main villain shows up, and we see that the other villains' whole plan was kind of to betray this main villain. But they shoot him to death, and plot twist, obviously the main villain is gonna die that easy. And oh my god, he has superpowers or some shit. So then he just kicks the other villains in the ass, because, I don't know, anime.
It's him.
And we meet up back with the Goon Squad, who are, I don't know, they're just doing their own shit or something. And by the way, the character of the Goon Squad with, like, I don't know what it is, like the mob haircut or some shit with the massive rifle. It's just so funny to me. Like it looks so insane and I just love it. But anyway, the main characters and the other girl find one of these weirder villains because way back when they tried to betray the villain and the villain was like Aina and killed all of them, he kind of resurrected the other villains. I know, confusing. So they fight one of the other villains that's now resurrected and kind of win, I guess, because movie logic. And then we kind of find out that the goon squad is coming close, and they slowly start to realize that, oh my god, some lore explanation, but basically the guy and the villain, or the main protagonist at least, and the villain are destined to fight each other or something. So the main character and the villain meet up, they have some epic debate, and the villain is like, oh my god, you know, basically the villain speech, all right, like the whole thing where he's like, oh my god, we can be together and team up, but the main character's like, hell nah, because he's good. And then he gets beat the shit out of them, basically. But yeah, he gets killed, and the main girl's like, oh my god, hold up, yeah, way side plot, the main girl's important because her blood is the blood of the resurrected or something like that, and the villain needs this so he can do his master plan or some shit. But this blood only works once, and obviously the girl is gonna use it not on the villain who wants to have her alive to use the blood on himself, but on the main character. So the main character epically revives and is this like, I don't know, anime ghoul character or some shit. And in the meanwhile, we also get like a flashback back to the beginning with all the samurai shit. And we start to realize that all these samurais and stuff was like him and the main villain, because they're destined to fight each other like through the centuries. So like this was the main villain and him way back in, like, I don't know, samurai time. I'm not good at history, but yeah, basically. So yeah, he fails obviously, but he doesn't want to fail, so he kills the main girl to prevent it, and the villain is angry. And now we're back to the future. So basically, the main villain failed. He doesn't want to fail again. Pretty easy movie stuff, all right? So yeah, they basically meet up, and the main character is like, oh my god, I want to have this epic fight. But in the meanwhile, we get the goon squad again. And they have like this debate with like two other villains. It's not important at all, but yeah, I thought I would just mention it. But the goon squad meet up with the main character and are like, oh my god, prisoner. And then the main character does the most epic thing and just blows the goon squad up.
You'll never hit me with a bullet that slow. My reflexes are 500 times faster than Mike Tyson's. Come on!
With a, I don't know what it is, like a marksman rifle, something like that. I don't know. Gun weeps, let me know in the comments. But yeah, anyway, and that was the Goon Squad for some reason. That's why I didn't mention much about them earlier, because they're just not important. They're just comedic relief. But anyway, the villain and the main character end up in this final battle. You know, they meet each other up and they're like, yeah. And it's actually really cool, kind of. I mean, some side effects are really stupid. But yeah, and the main character now has this resurrected blood. So it's really cool and shit. And yeah, he just started kicking ass at the main villain. Because something I should have mentioned way earlier, just to make it more complicated. Big plot twist, the villain didn't really need the resurrected blood from the girl. Or well, he did, but he also needed the blood of the main character. So now it's in one person. So the villain is like, oh my god, I'm gonna kill you. But obviously, like we all know, he fails the battle massively. And at the end, we kind of get this future thing where the main character and the main villain kind of meet up again. And it's like the year, I don't know, like 22,000 or some shit, like way in the future. And they meet up and they're destined to fight each other again. But here the main character is the villain for some shit. And I don't know, it's just kind of a comedic ending with the whole thing. Yeah, they're just gonna keep fighting for eternity. So yeah, and that's kind of the whole movie. Overall, I fucking love this movie. It's so dumb, but weirdly kind of badass. I think the best comparison, and for true gamers who know, the song in the intro that is just a true banger is from DMC3, Devil May Cry. And I think the perfect example for this movie is Devil May Cry. You know, the characters are so corny as hell, but the music and the fight scenes are so awesome that you weirdly feel, you feel like they're kind of badass, like all jokes aside. And that is this whole movie. Although the difference is that this movie actually kind of tries to make a story, I guess DMC as well, and in DMC it worked way better. That's kind of the difference. But overall, this movie gets a 6.3 on IMDb, which I think is insanely low. First of all, I think most people just didn't get the movie. I know this sounds stupid, but I'm pretty sure this movie is ironically like there are some scenes in this movie that you just straight up know, yeah, this is obviously meant as a joke. But the movie, like, again, it gets like a 6.3. So I think like a lot of people didn't get the message or something. It's also just a very old movie, so maybe a lot of people just didn't really see the humor or something. But I fucking love this movie, alright? The acting is like I said already, like really corny and shit. I also watched it in dubbed, so maybe that's why a bit, but I'm pretty sure it's not that different in Japanese. But yeah, like this movie, personally, it's a 9 out of 10 for me. If you have access to this movie, like in some way, I don't know, like in a disc or something from your grandma or some shit, watch it, please. It's so good. It's the most fun I had in a really long time while watching a movie. That's all jokes aside. I fucking love this movie. I've already seen it like 3 times. Overall, this was my review on Versus, and also just kind of like it wasn't really a review, more just the story, just to make people watch this movie because I think it's awesome. But I hope you guys like this video. Please like it and please subscribe because I at least want to hit 100 subs like in a few months or something. Like, come on. So if you like this content, please subscribe, please like. If you didn't like it, dislike, and comment what you guys think about the movie, or at least about this video. And if you have seen the movie, which I doubt, please comment about it because I like to know. Anyway, thanks for watching.